Mark, you're calling the Broncos Giants game for Fox this Sunday. Excited to get the regular season rolling here. Let's start out by talking about Teddy Bridgewater. What did you think about the decision to go with Teddy, and what are you expecting from him?
Yeah, I thought it was the right decision, Phil. And I think the big thing was, for me, pocket awareness, pocket presence. And when you compare the two in practice, and I know people get enamored by the big play, and Drew Lock made more big plays down the football field, a 45-yard seam route to Alberto, and everybody goes crazy, and a big top over the top to, Cortland Sutton, and people go nuts about that. But I think it's the hidden yardage plays and the lack of understanding of the time and the presence in the pocket, when to climb, how to slide, how to sense the rush, avoid the rush, and still get the ball off. And I think ultimately, when you look at Teddy, his process of saying, look at my front side, understand what my backside is. If my front side is not there, man, I'm getting to the backside right now. And based on what I read in the front side, I know where all five eligibles are. So I know theoretically where the defensive players are supposed to be in alignment. The other thing that I think lended itself to Teddy in that decision was watch practice and watch Drew Lock make a mistake and watch him go to the coach and get coached up. And that's typical for a young player. Watch Teddy go through practice and make the same mistake or make a mistake. And watch Teddy go to the players individually and talk to the receivers and say, hey, dude, you won on the, you won that route right off the bat on your release. You won the route. Don't change the route. I'm going to trust that I'll get you the ball. And he's coaching them up. So when you're developing a young team, and they're still young, I mean, Noah Fant's young, Cortland Sutton's young, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, there's no question about their football talent. It's the football acumen that needs to continue to grow, and that grows under veteran leadership at a much quicker pace than it does at a young guy that's still trying to do the same thing, grow with you or learn with you. So, that's why it was the right decision to me.
One of the big storylines this weekend has to be Pat Shurmur going back to New York to face his old team and the Giants. What do you think this weekend's going to be like for him?
Well, I mean, when you coach, you get used to bouncing around, right? I mean, just about everybody's going to get fired at one place or another. But it's always, so that's you're used to that part. But I'm telling you, there's something special about going back to somebody who said you weren't good enough. And whether you're a coach or whether you're a player, there's a special motivation for you. And, you don't get to this stage of the game, whether you're playing or coaching, without being type A uber competitive. It just doesn't happen. And so I'm sure Pat Shurmur would love to shove it up their cans. I mean, that's how it goes. So, it's exactly how I was when I signed in Denver in '95 when we played Washington. I couldn't wait to beat them down. And especially when I went back to FedEx Field and played there in 1998, and we ran them out of the building. And it was one of the greatest feelings. I still have a certain amount of disdain, for the way I was let go. So, there's still that fire that burns. So, I'm a competitor. That's the way it is.
Mike Shanahan must have been like that, like we've heard stories about him and the Raiders, right?
Oh, every time we played it, yeah. But everybody on our staff had coached for the Raiders one time or another, and Al Davis owed them all money, so they were all pissed off. Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, Von Miller returning after missing all last season. It feels like he still has a lot left in the tank. What have you seen from him out at camp?
Yeah, he looks quick. The best thing I can say about Von Miller is he looks like Von Miller. Doing what I do for a living on Fox, you end up developing a lot of relationships and, coaches and GMs and the like. And I talked to some coaches from Minnesota that were like, dude, that looks like Von Miller of 2015. I mean, that's how good Von Miller looks right now. And he was wreaking havoc. And so, I thought he played well in the preseason game against the Rams. He was good against the run. He's just so, I mean, he can hold the point. He can be strong. He's so shifty, and he's like freaking. What was the cartoon? I'm Gumby, damn it! Like he's just he's almost like the Matrix, where his dip and his ability to turn a corner and his just almost gelatinous feel to where you can never really get your hands on him makes him impossible at times to block. And so um, that should be a great matchup. Now you look at the Giants; they've got Pert out there. They've also got the former CU Buff. And neither of those guys can handle Von Miller. I mean, not from what I've watched in the preseason, in the preseason game, those guys don't have a chance to handle Von Miller. Andrew Thomas on the left side against Chubb, Andrew has really struggled. He's really struggled, and I guess you could take a lesson from Bowles, who struggled for 3 years and then all of a sudden, figured out. It was one of the most remarkable turnarounds I've ever watched. And which is great for him. And I personally, I'm so proud of him. Personally, if I was in charge, I'd have given up on him. That's how I felt about it. And it's a good thing you guys don't have me in charge, because we wouldn't have anybody on our team. No, I love our team. I think George Payton has done a great job of bolstering the depth on this football team, especially when it comes to special teams depth and the way he's changed this roster. And that to me is something that has been missing. You're going to have injuries. When you have depth on a roster, you usually have great special teams. Guys that are really good football players that can't get on the field because the guys in front of them are great football players. So they take so much pride in playing special teams because it's what they get to do.
Mark, the last one I had for you here, I'll let you out of it here on this, is it's the start of a new season. Do you feel like this Broncos team is good enough to make the playoffs?
I think, yeah, I do. I think that a lot of things have to go right. I think they're going to be, in that fray as a wild card team with the Steelers and with, Miami and with New England and with a couple of those teams. But I think they're good enough. Again, I always say this, it's becoming cliche for me, but if the games were played on paper, I'd spend a lot less time on an operating table. On paper, the defensive secondary of the Broncos looks like it's second to none right now. I love what Surtain came in and did. The pass rush has got the chance or the potential of being great with Vaughn, with Chubb. But I'm excited about the guys behind him. Malik Reed showed that he can really play. And Jonathan Cooper that dude was a one-man wrecking crew during the season, or during the preseason, excuse me. A couple of defensive linemen that really, Draymond Jones has a chance to be special inside. Deshaun Williams, I love his story. I love his perseverance. I thought he played his butt off during the preseason. Shelby Harris is Shelby Harris. He's going to bat down passes and do his thing. And so, I think you've got a chance. You got a chance to be really good and more versatile than you've ever been, which you have to be with the amount of DBs that you're going to have to play in nickel and dime and even penny situations, 7 DBs. That's the way the league is going right now. And the Broncos have enough in that back end to really do that well and complement that pass rush.
Mark, how many surgeries was it for you?
29.
Gosh, dang. All right.
That's Phil. That's called stupidity more than anything else. Yeah. Don't confuse that with toughness. That's just dumb.
Well, hopefully you're staying safer up in the booth than down on the field.
Absolutely. Can't wait for kickoff. Just from a matchup standpoint, the Giants are a really good football team. From the defensive side, James Bradbury's as good as it gets, corner position. Logan Ryan's a great safety and a playmaker. Blake Martinez is as good as it gets to the middle linebacker position. And Leonard Williams is a one-man wrecking crew on the defensive line. So they got some players on that side of the ball. And I will say this, they are one on film of the most confusing defensive secondaries to watch because they play a lot of things. And they play them well, and they disguise and hide them well.
Teddy better do his homework. Get ready for this one. Mark,
absolutely.
Looking forward to hearing your call of it in the booth, and thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
You got it, Phil. Take care, buddy.